So hello friends, welcome to my channel. So today I am going to teach about stratified epithelial tissue. Okay, so already in previous video we have discussed about simple epithelial tissue. So next epithelial tissue is stratified epithelial tissue. So stratified epithelial tissue means here two or more layers are present. The cells are arranged more layers like this. But in simple epithelial tissue, how they are? Only one single layer cells are present in the simple epithelial tissue. But here many layers are present. So here again we have the different types of stratified epithelial tissue. So first one is stratified keratinized squamosal epithelial tissue. So which means here the stratified means many layers are present. Next, keratin protein is present. So that's why this is called keratinized squamosal epithelial tissue. So it is present dry surfaces of the body. Dry surfaces means our skin. Skin is a dry surface. Dry surface and palm, they are also dry surface. So dry surfaces are lined by stratified keratinized squamosal epithelial tissue. Next, second type is stratified non-keratinized squamosal epithelial tissue. So which means here this non-keratinized, it is non-keratinized, which means keratin protein is absent. So that's why it is non-keratinized squamosal epithelial tissue. It is present wet surfaces of the body, for example oral cavity, pharynx and vagina. Next, stratified cuboidal epithelial tissue. So stratified cuboidal epithelial tissue means here the cells are cube shaped cells are present. Cube shaped, all cells, the layers of all cells are cube shaped. So that's why this is called cuboidal epithelial tissue. Next, cuboidal epithelial tissue is present ducts of salivary glands. Ducts of salivary glands and duct of pancreas also. Next, fourth one, transitional epithelium. Transitional epithelium means here the cells, they can change their shapes. So that's why this is called transitional epithelial tissue. It is present in the urinary bladder. Next, in between the simple and stratified epithelial tissue, one more tissue is also present, that is called pseudo-stratified epithelial tissue. Pseudo-stratified epithelial tissue. So which means here in a single line, in a single layer on the basement membrane, two types of the cells are present. Long cells, shorter cells. Longer cells, shorter cells. But they are present in a single line. But two types of the cells are present. So it forms it looks like two layers or double layer. But actually they are only one single layer. But they gives the appearance two layers. So that's why it is pseudo-stratified epithelial tissue. It is again two types. Ciliated pseudo-stratified epithelial tissue, non-ciliated pseudo-stratified epithelial tissue. Pseudo-stratified epithelial tissue, example for pseudo-stratified epithelial tissue is trachea. Trachea is lined by ciliated pseudo-stratified epithelial tissue. Next, epididymis is lined by non-ciliated pseudo-stratified epithelial tissue. Okay, so this is the stratified epithelial tissue. Next epithelial tissue is glandular epithelial tissue. So glandular epithelial tissue. So which means here normally simple epithelial tissue, in the simple epithelial tissue some cells get specialized. They have the secretarian function, which means they produce some secretions. So that's why they are called glandular epithelial tissue. So glandular epithelial tissue, they have the secretory in function. So they secrete some secretions. Okay. So next they have the different types of the classification. First one, based on number of cells. So based on the number of cells, there are two types. So first one is unicellular glands. Okay, so second one is multicellular multicellular glands. So first one is unicellular glands. Unicellular glands means only one single cell acts as a gland. That gland secretes the secretion. So that is called unicellular glands. Only one single cell. So that is goblet cells of intestine. In the intestine, this intestine lined by columnar epithelial tissue. So from columnar epithelial tissue, some cells get specialized. They secrete the secretion. So that cells are called goblet cells. They secrete the enzymes. Next, multicellular cell, multicellular glands, which means here number of cells they arranged in the form of cluster. Cluster of cells are present, which means group of cells are present. So these group of cells, they secrete the secretions. For example, salivary glands. Salivary gland. Okay. Next one more, second type of classification. One more classification is also there. The based on mode of pouring of secretion. Okay. So based on the pouring of the secretion. So here first one is exocrine glands. So exocrine glands means they are ducts glands. So which means they provided with ducts. With the help of ducts, they secrete the secretion into their target organs. Okay. So their secretions are generally called enzymes. Their secretions are called enzymes. For example, salivary glands. Okay. Next, second one is endocrine glands. So endocrine glands means which are ductless glands. So which means they are not they don't have the ducts. They are not provided with ducts. So their secretions directly release into the blood. Okay. So their secretions are released into the blood. Next, their secretions are called hormones. For example, pituitary gland, thyroid gland. Okay. Next, so here the exocrine glands have the different types. Okay. Exocrine glands. Again, exocrine glands, they are classified into 3 types. Okay. Exocrine glands are classified into 3 types. They are apocrine glands, merocrine glands, and holocrine glands. Apocrine, merocrine, and holocrine glands. So apocrine glands means during the secretion, for example here these are the cells. Okay. So which are secretes the enzymes. So during the secretion, okay, they secretes the only secretion. So without damaging the cell, they release the secretion into their target place. For example, pancreas. Example is pancreas. Okay. Next, merocrine means here the cells during the secretion process. So half of the cell, so here half of the cell part is pinched off along with secretion. So they are called merocrine. Example, mammary glands. Next, holocrine glands means which means the complete cell is disintegrate with the secretion. The complete cell is released along with the cell. So that is called holocrine. Example, sebaceous glands. Sebaceous glands. So these are the exocrine glands. So exocrine glands are three types: apocrine, merocrine, holocrine. Okay. So pancreas is the example for apocrine. Mammary glands are example for merocrine. Sebaceous glands are example for holocrine glands. Okay. So this is the glandular epithelial tissue.